rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, look, I went backwards.
Turn the clock. No.
Not only did we turn the clock back, but I did not read item A. We went right to the pledge, which is fantastic. Anyway, this is to advise those present at this meeting of the Board of Education of the Pinelands Regional School District in the County of Ocean that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. The notice has been posted in the Board of Education office, junior high school and high school buildings. The notice was also mailed to the Press of Atlantic City, Asbury Park Press, and filed with the municipal clerks of Bass River Township, Eagleswood Township, Little Egg Harbor Township, and the Borough of Tuckerton. Moving into item C, roll call. Roll call was previously recorded, but please note Lisa Betty is in attendance for the regular meeting. Item 3, approval of minutes. I ask for a motion to recommend the following minutes under item A and B.
Motion. So made. Who was that first? I'm sorry. Stephanie.
Stephanie? The motion is on the floor. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa Betty. Is there any discussion on the minutes? There being none, Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Patty Martin,
Yes, however, I am abstaining from the revised January 3rd, 2024. 1 second.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin,
I am abstaining from the revised January 3rd, 2024 minutes.
Okay.
And the executive minutes of February 12th, 2024. Okay, hold on 1 second.
noted. Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
motion carries.
Fantastic. Item 4, report of our superintendent and our student representative. Hello, Johanna.
Sorry for my late appearance.
No,
Okay.
please.
You made it just in
Is she
time.
talking to me or you?
Well,
Sorry,
either or.
she was looking at me.
But
I'm looking
I'm
at
right
both.
here.
Okay. Well,
You may,
thank you.
you are first.
So as per usual, March has been busy. Pinelands Drama Department successfully completed the 2-week run of The Little Mermaid, which was a huge success. Everyone was so amazing. The class of 2024 just went on their senior trip to Disney World in Florida. I can personally say that that was so much fun. 10 out of 10. The staff and seniors who attended had a fantastic time. The staff for students basketball game was held and the staff took the trophy against the students in a fun game held by Yearbook Club. Class of 2025 hosted their Naples Pizza fundraiser to help fundraise money for the junior prom coming up in May. Spring sports, including lacrosse, boys tennis, baseball, track, boys volleyball, and softball have just begun their practicing for this month. The athletes are beginning to prepare for their season. Students can have the opportunity to go to the medieval times because SBYS has thankfully organized a trip there by the end of this month. And Spanish Club is running its annual I haven't taken Spanish in a year. Buseta project, where bracelets are being sold to help the people in need in countries like Guatemala and Nigeria. And of course, as a reminder, as usual, the free offering of SAT prep classes are after school on Mondays. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Now you want to go?
It's my
All right, you're number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Bonnicky.
I do have a few things, a couple updates, and then I want to address some questions that were asked from board members. We always appreciate those. First and foremost, as you may or may not have heard, we unfortunately got $2 million in state funding cut recently, which is a huge impact on a $40 million budget. I did write a letter to the Commissioner of Education asking them to reevaluate that to see if it was made in any type of error. Perhaps the calculation was off, but regardless, I did write a letter pleading our case to reevaluate that. We have been working diligently on the budget with the budget committee and with the administrative team to develop a budget that incorporates these cuts with the least impact to students and staff possible. Recently, Ms. Frasca and I were very fortunate to attend a wonderful event at Stockton. They had their first annual dual enrollment dinner where they celebrate students from all over that are attending Stockton in some capacity as a high school student taking dual enrollment courses. We sat with Ariana Ng, one of our students. She and her family were amazing. We also sat with a student from Millville, and in conversation, we asked the Millville student, how many dual enrollment courses are you carrying onto your college career, when they enter as freshmen? And I believe she said 8 credits. And our student, Ariana, is taking 40 with her. So she's, going in as a sophomore at Stockton in the fall. So we're super proud of her. The event was really wonderful, and Pinelands was definitely represented with a great amount of students that are taking dual enrollment courses. So I was happy to attend that. I am actually at Stockton again this Wednesday from 4:30 to 7. It is a career panel that they have student teachers practice interviewing to get jobs, but it's also a way for us to kind of recruit if we're in need in any areas to hire students that are going to be graduating. So I've done this now for the past few years, and it's really nice to have that relationship with Stockton. Just a reminder that our April meeting got moved. It's a week later, so it's now going to be April 22nd. We need to do that just for budgeting purposes. Some of the questions that were asked, I'm going to try to address. Then if you have any follow-up questions, please ask. NJGPA was one of the questions, and that is one of the roads to graduation that students have to take that to pass. If they do not pass it, there are alternate ways to graduate, such as PSATs, Accuplacer, ACTs, SATs, and if they're not successful in all of those areas, they can do what is called the portfolio in the content areas of language arts or math. We do offer an array of support if they don't make those requirements, where we have after-school tutoring. They're placed in intervention sections for math if they need extra support during the school day, and we find the way to get them successful to graduate high school. A question was asked about the career and community partnerships that we have and helping students that maybe are not college bound. We do have our JAGS program, which has been growing each year. It's been very successful, where students learn about writing a resume and job skills. And Ms. Nooner has done an amazing job with bringing in speakers from all areas, whether it's the military or local law enforcement, and really just getting them an array of exposure to different careers and putting them on that path. We also have job fairs here, and recently School-Based Youth Services held one on March 7th. We had 32 vendors there, and 52 personnel were included in that as well. So that really helps the students, whether they're lunch break or they're passing in the commons, to see all of those vendors and touch base. Some of them get jobs for the summer, and others just get that exposure to different careers. So thank you to School-Based Youth Services for doing a great job with that. It was also asked about HIB and discipline. So in terms of discipline, I pulled out of OnCourse all of the positive write-ups for the year. So these would be the ones that are just quote unquote a negative write-up. And that could include classroom disruptions, having their cell phone out, not turning things in on time, being late to school. So last year in total, we had 4,800 write-ups collectively in both buildings. This year, at this point in the year, we're at a little 3,400. So it's about the same. Actually, we're a lot less in like lates to class and things like that because of Smart Pass. So we have reduced discipline in that manner, but we're a little less, but not too far off. In regards to the HIBs, the HIBs that we've been doing, I have a chart here in front of me, Ms. Kenny put together, and I appreciate that data from 2018 until now. And really collectively, it varies from year to year. So for example, as of December 30th of this year, we had alleged in the high school 3, confirmed 4, alleged in the junior high 5, confirmed 3. And last year, in total at the high school, they had 14 alleged and 11 confirmed. And at the junior high, 5 alleged, 6 confirmed. So it does vary from year to year. In regards to the programs that we have training every year for our staff. We have multiple trainings, and we had about 11 to 16 programs implemented for each school year to year. So it's a mandatory training that all the staff have to go through. And in regards to programs, it really just varies, what school base might be offering or guidance may be offering. So students are involved in that as well. I'm going to stop there before I go on to parent involvement and questions on HIB or discipline.
Staff training I get, because they have to be able to identify HIB or report in that manner. 16 programs, like parent involved assemblies that 16. What I'm getting at is if and how we can get the parents involved, beginning, during, and the end, to mitigate the number of HIB cases, which is student behavior. So those are targeted to our students, correct? And I'm just curious, is that enough? Are we doing enough that we still, what school, junior or high school, has more of the events? And is it the immaturity of the kids coming in? I mean, have you been able to identify common causes, or just programs that might, as you're going through your adolescence from 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade, I don't know. I'm asking a lot right now.
No, that's a great question. I would say most of the HIBs that we are encountering, one way or another, are dealing with social media. So whether it starts on social media or it's escalated on social media, it's a big piece of it. And in every instance, parents are called on the phone. The situation is explained to them. They have that conversation with in most cases, the principals or the assistant principals. We do hold programs for students on social media and the dangers of it. And in regards to parents, we have held those here before. The turnout isn't as great as we would like it. We push out what we can through email or videos, or, school-based does a great deal with that as well. We hold them. As I said, that the turnout isn't as great as we'd like. We've had the prosecutor's office come here and give trainings for parents as well as for our students. They'll do it usually in the same day. They do that for the students first during the day, and then they hold one at night for the parents.
Often our demographic is compared to other schools in
No.
other matters. What is
Yeah,
our
we're
comparison?
definitely under in regards to HIB investigation.
I know it's a grueling, isn't it, Will? I'm doing like lawyering speak.
No, we are under the state average in regards to the amount of confirmed HIBs. In regards to the amount that we are actually investigating, it's out of our control. And like I said, it varies from year to year. But I do feel, and I have a complete list here, I can read through everyone. I had every department give me a list of any type of parent event they held throughout the year. And we're doing a lot, whether they come or not. It really depends on what the event is. So if it's an AP night, that's the parent that we're getting to learn about AP. If it's the prosecutor's office talking about the dangers of social media, it's going to be the ones that want to attend.
Right. Anyone else, any comments on HIB?
I have just a few questions. Just the overall climate in the town. Just hearing things from my students, my kids at Tuckerton. We've had the mayor notified about some racial graffiti at the Mystic Island field, but I feel like it's race related more than me growing up, like we never had issues like that, but I feel like I don't know if there's assemblies where we could do, I don't want to say sensitivity training, but like tolerance or something to that nature where it's an assembly for the students and why these words hurt and, you know, why you feel the need to be so hateful to
Sure.
other people, whether it's regard of their race or their sexuality or whatever, but it just seems like it's more prevalent now as far as a overall hatred for things, and kids, I don't know where they're hearing it, what they're seeing, what they're doing. So I don't really know if it's really a parent issue as far as a program, but I think it might be a school thing where,
Yeah, so we don't do assemblies as much with the older kids, like
Yeah.
7 through 12, but we do push into classrooms.
Okay.
So they will go into like their social studies classroom or guidance goes in and does exactly what you're saying. And then I feel at this age too, it's important to deal with it as it happens.
yeah,
So those particular students will be mediated and they'll go to guidance or they'll get retraining. They may go to school-based youth services, but you're right. I mean, as our demographic is changing here, we are seeing that more. And it's not one race against another. Sometimes it's the same race when you see
Yeah.
racial issues.
it's just certain words
Yes.
that are coming up
Yep.
and you're like, oh, that's not-
And our end
Sure.
administratively, it's just the zero tolerance. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter what race the person is that says it, the word is not tolerated or this
Correct.
behavior is not tolerated. So on our end, yeah, we're doing what we have to do, but we are seeing that because our demographic is changing.
Mhm. And as far as the report card grade that we're supposed to have on our website,
Mhm.
is that supposed to be updated yearly? Because I think ours is a little outdated.
So we just recently got all of the information. Are you talking about the ESSA, like the school performance report?
Yeah, where it's
Yeah.
like up to 78,
Yep.
I think.
Yep, we just recently got all of that from,
Okay.
first it goes through an embargo period, and then once the embargo is done, basically you have a chance to say these numbers are wrong.
Mhm.
Then it's finalized and then it will go on.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Stephanie. Anyone else? Comments on HIB? None. What? You're done?
Done.
Woo. Okay, thanks, Dr. McCooley. Moving into item 5, presentations. I invite Karen Kenny and Gina Fresca to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members, community members. I'm going to now ask, sorry for having you come up, but Miss Skylar Ballin, please come on up. So tonight we are presenting Skylar with a certificate of congratulations from the Board of Education. She is the first student who has earned an associate's degree in science, summa cum laude, with a concentration in criminal justice from Ocean County College before she graduated high school. So yes, we are so proud of her. So Skylar, some of your teachers wanted to say something to you tonight, so I'm going to relay some of these comments to you. First, I'm going to start with congratulations, Skylar. It is quite an accomplishment to graduate with a degree at community college. It is a tremendous accomplishment that you did this while in high school. What a fantastic thing to achieve, and good luck to you in all of your endeavors for next year. Congrats again, Mr. Becker. That's from Mr. Becker. This is the next one. Skylar is an exceptional and impressive young woman who is unstoppable once she sets a goal. It's an honor to teach her. Ms. Shannon Sobiak, and she's here tonight. This is from Mrs. Railman. Skylar has a quiet but deliberate way about her, and in spending time with her, you are quickly aware of her intelligence and capacity to make the most of opportunities that are offered to her. She has a wonderfully bright personality that will undoubtedly light the way for others in all of her future endeavors. Now we're going to go back and take a little trip back to Tuckerton Elementary School. Here's some comments from her elementary school teachers. Overall, this is from your report cards back in the day. So this is from June of 2018, Mr. Jubelhauer. He said, overall, Skylar is a highly motivated and focused student. She has demonstrated an energy and drive toward excellence. So some things never change, right? This is from Miss Stanbaugh, fourth grade teacher in June of 2016. Skylar is methodical and thorough with all of her tasks. She has finished the year as she started it, strong. This is from Miss Capolino, the third grade teacher in June of 2015. Skylar takes her time and puts forth a lot of effort in her work. She is a very conscientious student. And finally, from first grade, Miss Pine in June of 2013. Skylar does high quality work, and I hope that she will continue to show such excitement for learning for all of her years of school. Congratulations, Skylar. We are so very proud of you.
Oh, go ahead, take a picture. Miss Frasca did all the work.
I would say maybe the Ballin family. You must be very, very proud. And little sis, boy, do you have some shoes to fill. Oh, the cart before the horse, did I?
That's very impressive. It's really impressive.
Thank you. Next, with our mentor Twilight program update, Dr. McCooley.
Thank you. I just wanted to give the board a brief update on the Twilight and Mentoring Program. Can you hit the next slide, Phil? Thank you. So our mentoring program was put into place this year, and I am happy to report that we have 45 pairings of a staff member and a student. Staff members can range from secretary, paraprofessional to teacher, anyone that was interested in this program. I would also like to report that we had more mentors volunteer than we actually had need of students, which is really a great thing and a testament to our staff and how willing they are to go above and beyond their normal routine just to help out students. So our student success team meets once a week, and they look at data, they look at students that are deficient in any type of area. And one of the interventions they will put into place is pair up that student with a mentor. And the mentor can really form that relationship with the student and meet as often and as few as they'd like. Maybe they meet during lunch, maybe they meet once a week, or maybe it's daily before and after school. Really just depends on the mentor and mentee. You can read up on the screen some of the testimonials from our mentors. We did a mid-year survey to see how it was going. And quite frankly, some cases they're not seeing their mentee very much because they don't see the need, but overall it was extremely positive. And without giving too much information, I have a mentee, and this person was going to drop out of school. And we were able to meet, put my mentee on a new program. And she is now being very successful, still in school, re-enrolled, and is really doing amazing. She's going to graduate whether she likes it or not. So it's been rewarding to say the least. If you can hit the last slide, please, Phil. The other piece of this, and this has been more successful than we expected. We have now the Twilight program, which starts after school and it goes for 4 hours. We have 16 students enrolled in it right now, 13 in the high school, 3 in the junior high. It's 100% grant funded through the grant that we got recently last summer. We also have Effective School Solutions, which is the mental health piece. So these students, if needed, they meet with a mental health clinician for the first 45 minutes of their day when they come in at usually like 1:45 because they get here a little early. So they meet with the clinician, and if they have school anxiety, school phobia, any type of mental health concerns, they're getting the services that they need, because obviously there's a reason why they were not successful during a normal school day. So they do get that service. They are having a meal every day. They order their lunch the day before. So if, they look at the menu on Tuesday to see what's for lunch, they order it Monday, and then they come in, get their meal that was served that day, and get to eat here. The attendance has been wonderful. They've been coming every day. They get small group support from the staff that are working this program. A lot of them are on online programs like Edmendum, or they're doing their Google Classroom that's assigned from the classroom teacher. It just went away. And we are fortunate too that we have Mrs. Lawrence is a part of this community. So she does do health or phys ed with them. And they have a lot of positive events, like they had a little holiday party around Christmas. They had the art teacher do projects with them and things like that, just to keep them motivated to stay in it. And a special thank you to Lindsay Williscroft. She is the paid coordinator for this program, and she's really been working with the school success teams and making sure that the students are coming, that they have transportation, and that they're successful. And, you know, now we're on the path to graduate. So those are just some updates. Are there any questions from the board about either of those things, the mentoring program or the Twilight program? Okay, if you have any other questions, you can always email me directly. So thank you for that.
Amanda Miller is going to give us a budget presentation. Again, Amanda Miller, budget presentation.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So on the agenda tonight is the submission of the tentative budget to the county office for review. The final budget hearing will be in April. I am going to abridge the presentation from what I did the previous years, just because we're hoping that the letter, as Dr. McCooley explained, will help us a little bit. We did work tirelessly throughout the past couple of weeks trying to figure out a budget that's best for the district, that is best for the students and the staff. I thank the administrative team. I thank the budget committee. And also thank the board. So cut off. So this is just the members of our Board of Education. This is how many staff that we service here. We have 170 certified staff, 119 support, and 11 administrators. So most of our budget is on payroll and benefits. And this is where the problem lies. This is where the $2 million is. So you'll see a comparison of last year's state aid numbers and this year's state aid numbers. And you can see that we went down specifically in equalization aid by close to $2 million, which is a huge hit for Pinelands. This will be, it's getting cut off there.
That's how it is.
Oh, okay. So this is what is on the agenda for approval. This is the total expenditures, what comes from the general fund, the special revenue, debt service, and the total budget. The special revenue is not, that's our grant funds. Those are, we don't get those numbers, unfortunately, until after the budget is due. So that's just a guesstimate. This is stuff's got up. So 63% of the revenue will come from the tax levy. 27%, which was I think 30 last year, is now coming from state aid, and the other 10% is other things like interest and tuition revenue from other districts, some things like that. And then, so after it's approved tonight, the county office will go over it. If there's any changes, we will make them before the next meeting, and that's kind of why we pushed the meeting back a little bit. So we will update everybody on what those changes were to the budget. Hopefully, I mean, they're not going to be any worse. They're just hopefully going to get better, but I'm an optimistic person, so who knows? So that's really all I have for tonight. If anybody has any specific questions, I'm happy to answer those. Yeah, sure.
That questions also pertain to the audience. If you have a question for Amanda, can. Oh, that's just a,
This is just submission.
oh, just
Yeah.
submission. So,
Public hearing.
April would be
Public hearing.
the public hearing and then questions from the audience.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Amanda. Moving on into item 6, our work session. We have a few topics for discussion. Let's just get right to the top. So free and reduced meals for students and lunch balances. So I think that was something that it's put on the agenda for us to discuss. Balances that are not being paid. And then perhaps some type of remedy to receive payment for those outstanding funds. And if not, we're held accountable. I mean, it's kind of just like the history of that debt service that
Current
lies
debt.
there.
What's the current amount that's owed? I know last school year, I don't have it specifically this school year off the top of my head.
Does
It was
this roll off?
33,000. We had to pay
33,000.
33,000 we had to pay for the debts from last year.
Can we find out what it is for this year? Amanda?
Yes, we can get an up-to-date amount, yeah.
So that 33's got, that's already out the door, and then starting in September, the bills start again.
So the 33,000 is what we had to pay Little Egg because we have a consolidated agreement with them. So that is what we owed for last school year. This school year, the debt doesn't go away. I believe the balances were wiped clean as of,
When Nick Brown was here, so it was like 21, maybe, he wiped them clean,
then it was free for the
everyone.
whole
for-
time through COVID.
Yes,
So once
So that 33 didn't clear us, that was just a payment due,
that was just the payment due, yeah.
so we still have a balance.
We still have a balance, yeah. So that includes free, reduced, and paid status students' balances. And I can get that number.
Okay, please.
we've
Just
worked
email.
really hard to try to get all of the students to fill the applications out, which is, it's a huge obstacle. I think this year we've had the most ever, and we have almost 50% of students that qualify for free or reduced lunch. So when you hear about students being sent a bill or, we give them multiple notifications that they owe money, those are the students that are on paid status, not the students that are on free and reduced lunch. So it's like 50% of our population. And unfortunately, we do have students with really large balances that just aren't paying it.
And the reduced folks are included in that 33,000 too.
It's actually, right now, reduced is the same thing as free. So
So
they don't
they're
have to
not,
pay either.
they don't
Oh,
have to
okay,
pay,
okay,
right?
So it's just.
Yep, just
So our balances are from students who are paying
there's
for
two
lunch,
separate
but
things.
not actually paying for lunch. Because how do I pick,
people-
when I come into school, I'm gonna buy lunch, how do I pay for lunch? Do I give them cash? Do I have a debit card? Is there a debit card on file with a credit card for auto swipe?
You can, I mean, if you're not free and reduced, if you're paid, you mean?
Correct, because
So
that's where
you
our
can
arrears
set
are
up an
coming
on-site
from.
Account, and you can have it automatically debited from, and you can say you want $100, and every time it gets below $10, it re-ups. You can bring cash or check in the lunch line and give it to the cashiers, and they will put that money on your account. And we don't turn anybody away because it's not legal.
No,
So
understood.
Then if there's no money they don't have anything on their account, it's charged, and that's where the lunch balances accumulate.
I guess a student ID or the account balance or the account number, is that specific? That's specific to the student?
Yes.
Do we have the ability to inactivate that student in the following year if they're in arrears?
No.
We do not.
No.
We,
legally, the Department of Agriculture, there's very specific things that you can do to collect that balance, but
Boy, do
not-
I sound mean right now.
Yeah.
I've been doing a smile.
Yeah, no, we can't do that.
Gosh.
the answer to your question is we're a little shy of $28,000 that we are owed right now. Thank you.
What's the remedy? Answerable, you're not gonna answer it tonight, but what's the remedy? How do parents honor their obligation?
So we think we
As-
have a more efficient system right now. We do try to collect the debt numerous times through phone calls, through text messages, through letters. And then if nothing is done in that aspect, then we are taking them to collections.
The collections, they're not paying anything more than their original balance. If they owe $200, that's all they're paying in the end. We're not gaining anything from it. It's just,
I guess my next question will be, what is the success rate in that?
we
I'm-
just
when it-
started it, so,
correct,
and
right.
we just got the first.
I will ask
first
again,
payment
when
today.
that, yeah,
So.
what is the success rate behind?
What
it?
do we pay for that service though?
Yeah.
It is very, very minimal. It's, I think, for 100 accounts, I think it's like $14 for that, but it's, I felt, I mean, we already got more, we already got, an eighth of the money back in one payment.
And we're not sure if the rough 50%, if something happened as far as income wise, that they're just not filling out the form to possibly be a free and
That's
reduced.
the letters and the
Okay.
things that we've given
To
them
let
ahead
them
of
know
time.
that they could do it midterm or.
Yeah, and that's,
throughout the
yeah,
school year.
even in the letter, the final letter,
Mhm.
we say, you know, here's your balances of the state, if it's not paid, but we also, again, I mean, with,
Mhm.
that's the, I don't know how many different
Times.
times we've communicated the same thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fill out the lunch application. And then they go from a paid account to free, and then we haven't collected on those.
Anything.
Like,
Mhm.
when they've accumulated, we can't,
Mhm.
once they were paid, then they turn free, we can't then collect on that money, if that makes sense.
Right, so if you had $1,000 bill and then to Stephanie's point, you apply, you get that $1,000 bill just goes away.
We don't.
I mean, it doesn't
attempt to
go
collect
away.
it. We
Well,
we
we
have
get
to
it, but the-
absorb that,
It
right?
goes away, right, to
Yes.
the,
We don't collect on.
they're
on
no
it
longer getting
because-
a nasty gram from you.
Right.
because it's got-
Right.
And we don't get anything from the state from that, like with this.
No.
free
Got
and
a tax,
reduced?
right, any kind
No.
of tax write-off or addition to
We
that?
we don't pay taxes.
Right. Okay, super.
So no,
Well, let's pay our share.
we don't get negative tax write-off,
Nothing.
no.
What's the percentage of the parents that are actually making an effort and trying to pay off these debts? I mean, your communications with them, are they like, I mean, it's gotta be very embarrassing for them. In the situation.
I mean,
but are they
it's
trying?
only them and I that know who it is, so it's not, I mean,
I mean, they're getting bills and they're getting letters.
they're getting bills, yeah. They've been
Okay.
getting bills from Little Ag, then they get a letter from us.
Has there been any verbal reach out to these people?
Yes,
What's,
Yes, we
is it hanging up on you or is it?
Yep. And then we had an automated call go out like every day with the people that had the balances, and someone complained about us calling them too much.
but in the end,
Oh,
it's
boy.
the district has to pay for them.
If you're a public school.
And especially with our recent budget cuts. I mean, it's one thing that we can't afford.
Here's a toughie. The lunch balances that are in arrears. Are there any staff included in that number? Or is it just students?
As the beginning of the school
was,
year,
there's
there
not.
was, and we made very strongly worded emails, and we have not had as much of a problem with that anymore. Definitely keep up on that.
Do we know what percent of this are people who graduated, or are these all active?
They're all
students?
active
Yeah.
students.
And there's not like an alternate meal plan that we could give
Not
them,
allowed.
like,
That's one of the
PB&J
regulations that we
and
can't
like
give them
meal
because it's
shaming.
meal shaming.
like.
They can get whatever
Here's
they
your
want,
water.
keep
Well, yeah,
charging.
here's your water.
They
Here's
can't
your
get, I don't
free
think they can get
soup and,
extras, like they
water.
can't get cookies and ice cream, and
Right.
but
Like
the
that, okay.
regular
They can
lunch.
get a
but
meal
that-
every day.
Have we ever thought about reaching out to maybe businesses and or is the public able to put like an anonymous?
Yeah, there actually has been. I think
Donations.
I don't remember, I remember hearing about it. It hasn't been since I've been in this position, but I do remember somebody talking about someone leaving a check and putting it towards lunch balances. So that is a thing,
Option.
yeah.
Anyone else? Patty?
I'd just like to say, I absolutely do not have any answers to what, you just brought up. However, I want to start asking the questions. If I'm to understand it correctly, the goal throughout the state is by 28, 29 for every student to receive in the public school system, free or reduced lunches, the goal school year 28-29. That's still a ways off. I was wondering, I know in January, because it's a problem throughout the state. I know in January of 24, the legislation that was signed, it expanded, it added 60 more thousand new families to free and reduced. Still with the goal 28-29 to offer, hopefully, to all students throughout the state. I was just wondering if we could start the conversation, not wait until 28 or 29. How do we even get to that point? Are there other districts that we're aware of that?
So what they did to get more kids on free and reduced lunch is they changed the criteria.
Yeah.
So you had to be like a family of 5, you had to make X amount of dollars. So they changed that so you could make less money.
Yeah.
More money and still qualify.
Yeah.
So it's really up to the federal government to set those parameters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there's actually there's free and reduced, and then there's something called special. It's just this new, I think it's the state like succeeding the federal laws.
Mm.
It's a new higher
That
income
might
level
be
that
what-
is making more people eligible for it.
The
So
goal
they're trying,
is- yeah, definitely.
they're making steps.
Yeah, so that's my goal, that we offer free and reduced to all students.
That would be
Mhm.
amazing if we could do that.
Prior
Mm.
to when they want to
Sure.
go live with it.
Every child should have a free lunch.
Other states, I think there's
Breakfast
7 or
too.
9 other states that do
Yeah.
it. I think New Jersey should, and I was just wondering, can we be the district that starts talking about this? Is there another district that we know of that's talking about it? Can we join them and be a part of their research? Can we just get moving with, I know it's the exact opposite of what we were just talking about.
No,
Can-
that-
No, I'd
that's a
rather
great
it be
point.
that than
Can
what
we
had
start-
to
can we
do, trust
start?
me.
You know
somehow.
where it starts, I think? With the guidance counselor, when you're picking your classes for the following year, here's a form that you have to fill out.
Doesn't come out till late summer.
Well, change
But
that.
I got your point. I got your point.
Wonderful. Next item, meetings being live streamed. So we'll discuss this. So a little history about Pinelands, and just correct me if I'm wrong when I know I will be at some point. When Dr. McCooley came on board in 2018, you were live streaming meetings in Little Lake Harbor. And you brought that idea to this board. The board live stream meetings. 19 maybe, or I don't know how
Around
long,
there, I think.
around 19, I guess. Through COVID, through to the present, or excuse me, to the present sans the last 6 months, 5 months. When we live stream, I think that provided a valuable resource to the public to be a part, see, hear the meeting. But I think what happened, and I've said it, I don't speak for the board, but we've kind of had this conversation. Some of the negative speak that happens live that we can't answer at the time, we've always encouraged to attend the meeting so we can address any of those concerns that start in the social media world. We can't respond to it. And we shouldn't have to chase our tails to defend things that take place. Perhaps something was misspoken or erroneously presented, and that starts that unfortunate negativity, which ultimately caused us to say, all right, no more live streaming. So if you want to fill in the blanks from there, I think that's kind of the bones of it. I want to open the floor for discussion about potentially live streaming the meetings. Is it hurtful, harmful? Just 2 cents? I mean,
Want to show your idea that you have?
well, no. So currently, if someone wants to view the meeting, they submit an email and we send them the meeting. I mean, at first thought, since we were not live streaming, let's post to the YouTube account or channel our meeting immediately for review following the end of our meeting. So it was there. No one had to
Right.
request it. It would just be there for them to view. So we can do that. So there's no request and anybody can view it at any time following the closure. Well, how much time will we need to put that on the YouTube? We taped our meeting, put it on YouTube. How much time is needed for?
Good evening.
Oh, hello.
How are you? For those who don't know, I'm Phil Holman. I'm one of the computer techs. I run the recordings and live streams for just about every board meeting and graduations for, I don't know, 3, 4 years, 5 years now, something like that. So how you guys doing? What we're using is we have multiple computers back here. We got 2 actually really nice Canon cameras we just got for graduations last year with HDMI wireless transmissions and everything, which is really fun, really cool. When right now currently we are recording them locally. It takes a little bit of process to convert them into a visual format that is, you know, common with you all, like MP4. I don't know if you guys know what different video formats are. It is not recorded in that format. So I have to format it to a common one, and then I upload it. We were just uploading right to Google Drive, but last meeting, and we're planning on this meeting, tomorrow morning, we were going to upload it to our YouTube, which is the same YouTube channel that we were using when we were live streaming.
So then we
So-
could say following day at
Following day,
30 a.m.
oh,
8
I
a.m.?
would start it probably around 7-ish, and I'd probably by 9, 10 o'clock, it'd be up on,
Oh, so-
on the YouTube meeting, you know.
But-
It's sometimes just giving a little bit of time, 'cause sometimes the uploads get a little interrupted here or
Sure,
there.
sure.
But uploading does take a little bit of time. YouTube takes time to process the video. I guess they check for like copywritten content, stuff like that. So it can take it could take an hour or 2 for the upload to happen on YouTube properly. So just bear with us a little bit, but that was the kind of adjustment we were going to make following. Instead of doing a Google Drive link, we were just going to put it up on the YouTube.
Right.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Thoughts?
I think
So
it's
this is a done
necessary.
deal? This is what we will be doing?
No,
Oh,
it's a better idea
Ah.
than having people email for it to be sent to them.
I didn't know, I
No, so
wasn't
it,
sure if he was saying he was ready. to go.
yeah. Oh, yeah, he's
is
gonna do
ready.
it tomorrow. Yes, he's gonna do it tomorrow. But our discussion, I wanted to try to have some kind of solution that was easier for the public to view the meeting who could not view it in current time. But if we were to go back to current time and live stream, pluses or minuses, or just some input, some feedback.
I think for the sake of transparency, we should just air it like we have, just so the community can watch it whenever they can. If we set it in public, it's open for all anyway, so it's not like we could hide anything. We shouldn't be hiding anything.
No, we're not hiding anything, but just the opportunity to perhaps address a comment or something that is a question. And before it gets to that kind of speculation, I have another, how about live interaction? It's okay, but it's open for discussion. That's what I'm saying.
Just
Well, I'm
discussing.
just discussing it because we're sitting here and people are watching at home and they have a question. Can they text? Can they email the board president or someone a question? Can they get that instead of talking amongst themselves in that in a negative tone? Can they just say, "Hey, what's up with this?" and send us? I mean, is that legal? Illegal?
It's not that, well, let's put it this way. When you were in COVID and you had virtual meetings, the members of the public who watched a virtual meeting had to have the same access to the meeting as the members of the Board of Education, right? And were you to hold a virtual meeting, and by the way, good evening, everyone. I didn't just say good evening to everybody. Were you to hold a virtual meeting under like an emergency situation, that would be my recommendation. let me be very clear. It is not my recommendation, and I have given the same recommendation to the dozens of school districts I represent throughout the state of New Jersey to have an interactive comment section or question section in a live stream meeting. With regards to the live stream, I take no position. Okay, for some of my districts, it works very, very well. For the other districts, they found it to be somewhat problematic. That at the end of the day is up to you as a board. As far as comments, because one, it's very hard to sometimes ensure that you are not vetting anonymous comments. You are not dealing with people who are using, perhaps pseudonyms or names or hiding who they're talking through. It creates oftentimes confusion because it's hard enough in person to stop people from talking over each other. It's even harder online to stop people from talking over each other. It becomes a opportunistic forum for individual community members to then hijack your discussion and turn it into their discussion about other things than what you're discussing. So I do not think from a productivity nor transparency process. I believe, and I've been doing this now almost 30 years. It's hard for me to believe that, but I believe that if somebody really truly feels that they have something that they want to communicate, I have never seen, or I am unaware of your administration ever refusing to acknowledge the receipt of some type of question that was received. In fact, oftentimes, many of your presentations will be in response to questions that have been raised in the community and things along those lines. In addition, I do not believe that community members, if they truly want to say something to the Board of Education, they could either write it or show up at a meeting. And I was most reminded by this, I guess in the negative, at a meeting that I attended. And I told some of the administration about this in another community, not your community, or not one of your communities, where a person from the public who had a concern that they came kind of showed up to the meeting and said something along the lines of, if I had gotten this information, I wouldn't have had to waste my night and come to your meeting. And I was so taken aback by that because I really do believe that the public boards of education generally have the most transparent, most productive, most community engaged meetings of any of our local governments. I mean, I would ask you just think about yourself. Have you ever been to a county commissioners meeting? Have you ever been to a legislative session? Maybe once, right? Have you ever been to even township committee or town council? Very rarely. And in those forums, only you and your municipality actually have to give an opportunity for the public to address you at a public meeting. You're the only two organizations under the open public meetings that they're really required to do that. So it is the very strong recommendation, universal recommendation of our education law department that if you determine to stream, you do not have comments for all the reasons that I set forth.
Thanks, Will. Again, open for discussion.
I think taking away the request form is definitely a step in the right direction, making the meetings available for view. Definitely meetings without comments. It just gets really messy, especially during a live feed. I like the idea of having them available the next day. I have a preference towards having them live as they're going. I think not just necessarily for transparency, but kind of holds us a little bit accountable that we think about what we say before we say it too. If you know that you're live out there and that my kids at home could be tuning into the board meeting to watch what's going on, then I should conduct myself in a way that would be worthy of them seeing it. So, I think there's some benefit there as well.
This, I believe, hasn't been brought up until 2024, correct? Has it been requested to go back to live stream?
In 23,
23
yeah, I
was?
mean, we stopped.
Yeah, I think more from the public.
Right.
I mean, either like the tech department is here either way.
Yeah,
Like we said, we talked individually between myself and board members just about the fact that we felt that people were no longer coming to our meetings because it was easier just to watch it at home and we didn't have that interaction with the public. honestly, it doesn't matter one way or the other to me. The tech team is here as well. In regards to transparency, whether they're watching it live or they watch it the next day, it's still the same meeting. So we're not hiding anything, but it's really the preference of the board. If you want people to watch it in real time, or you want them to watch it the next day. I also agree that it got really difficult to manage with people emailing the Google form and that coming in because there's no notification. So 2 weeks after the meeting, people were requesting it and I wasn't aware that they did that. So I wasn't checking the form every day. So it's much easier just to upload it at some point right to our website.
I absolutely agree. The form's gotta go. We
Yeah.
don't need to do that anymore.
It was too hard to manage
And as
anyway.
long as we're going to post it on YouTube, I don't see any reason not to go live, as long as the comment thing is not an option. I mean, it wouldn't make any difference.
I agree. I think I still have a strong preference towards the live stream in real time, although definitely getting rid of the forum would be a great first step towards it. But I think a lot of the community members who have voiced their preference to have it be live streamed. And I think there's a lot of, very valid reasons that people can't come to a meeting, whether it's childcare, transportation, illness, who do want to come here and see it in real time because who wants to watch the Super Bowl the next day, even if you can watch it on YouTube?
That is just an awful comparison. How,
This is my Super Bowl. Everyone. You can take this a little more serious. Super Bowl doesn't really affect my community that much.
It sounds like we're live streaming.
But yeah, and I think that I like the idea of doing it in real time. And
So-
I think we have the capacity to do it. Obviously, people in the community voice their want for it, and I think there's a need for it.
Jeff, I really don't think, I have no issue with it being live streamed. I never did. Even if you have a small minority that may, have some negative things to say, whether they say it the next day, and they want to talk about it, it's a free country. Or if you stream it, they say it then. It doesn't really matter because, again, I don't think it really has anything to do with transparency. To me personally, we're all here, we know we're being recorded. But as far as live streaming, if we have the technology, we should be able to use it. And I don't think their negative outweighs the positive. That's just how I feel about it.
well, is this something that would be an agenda vote for next month to say yes, or just say, listen,
Voted on it regardless, so we.
so we have it, right?
Yeah,
What-
we never did to begin with. It's not in a policy, so it's really just the decision of the board. If you want to live stream it, we can go back.
So
to live
then
stream.
tomorrow, ten
and-
AM, we'll have the recorded
I think you can probably start
session.
implementing that already. However, I would suggest that at least you look at your board policies and more likely your bylaws. And we'll take a look to see if there's somewhere where that should somehow be embedded to demonstrate that that's what the board wants to do and to give the board a chance to vote on it. But I won't say don't do it until then. Start it.
Yeah,
and-
we're
and we'll
not
figure that
voting.
out.
We're not gonna vote on this. We're just gonna do it. So next month, we'll,
But what Will's saying is just do it, but then also include a regulation that
And-
says we're
yeah,
doing.
and
That was
so
my
because-
interpretation.
Because what you want to make sure is that, hopefully when the people sitting around this table are all retired and down in Florida and what have you, they still know what the policy or bylaw of the Board of Education is.
Adopt something.
Yeah, adopt something,
Yeah, agreed. We can put that in place. Amanda's doing the bug.
great. Thank you for the discussion on that topic. We will live stream next month. The BOG update. What do you got, Amanda?
Got a couple things. Dr. Clark helped me out with this. She has been amazing helping me through this process that is very unknown to me, but I'm getting much better at it. So our project manager, Princeton Hydro, is finalizing the permitting and paperwork for the dam deregulation. One part of the process involves notifying the bog's adjacent landowners or neighbors of the dam's decommissioning. If anyone asks about this, please let them know that this is one part of the bog beautification project and regional watershed restoration project. Questions can be sent to Dr. Kim Clark. We are also hosting our second Earth Day bog cleanup on April 27th from 9 to 11 a.m. in partnership with the Barnegat Bay Blitz. All volunteers should meet behind the high school at the cafeteria tables. All supplies will be provided. At 11 a.m., Dr. Clark and Mr. Ardoin will be speaking to the volunteers in the community on the dam deregulation. bog restoration project and the use of our natural resources as an outdoor classroom for our students.
I have one more thing, if that's okay.
Super.
Just in
Super,
regards
super.
to Stephanie's question, Miss Gonzalez is here and she texted me some other helpful information about diversity. They held Challenge Day at the high school in January where the 100 students and 25 staff members, the focus was acceptance, diversity, and being the change. They've also started a diversity council that they are trying to breathe life into, which it's in the inception stage. It's called Power in Unity. And they're looking to increase participation next school year. So it has been identified and is being addressed.
Thank you.
Great. Under the work session, item B for new business, a negotiations update,
Oh, yes.
August.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, so
You're
I have
welcome.
just jotted down a brief statement for a negotiations update. I'm gonna share with you what I can share with you since we're still ongoing with negotiations. I really can't divulge too much. So the committee sat and met, we had 9 meetings and those meetings were June 13th, September 13th, October 18th, November 15th, December 13th, January 10th, January 31st, February 21st, and March 6th. At the March 6th meeting, both parties could not come to a consensus and are now at formal impasse. We were trying to schedule a meeting with the moderator for April. We gave 3 possible dates in April and none of these dates works for the PA or the representation. We are awaiting a proposal for meeting dates from the PEA, the representation, which appears that the earliest point at this time will be meetings in May. The team continues to be proactive in wanting to settle this before June 30th. So that's my update.
Any questions for Chairman August Dalio with negotiations? I think the process has been somewhat positive up to the point where we got to
Yeah, it's been positive.
a point where it became less positive. So I guess that's all you can share.
Well, again, there's not much I really can discuss about when we sit down with the PEA. You know, we're sitting in a room and the discussions are ongoing between both parties, and that's where it stays.
So we're at impasse.
We're at impasse.
Excellent.
And our minutes recorded for that, and are we privy to that?
Our
Okay,
agenda.
all right. And who's on that committee with you?
That's Mr. Bonnicky, there's Mr. Vivek, David, myself.
So
No, that's-
David is
yeah, it's on
budget.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Budget.
David's not a budget finance. This is McVeigh, myself, and Mr. Bonnicky.
Wonderful.
I'm putting you on every committee now.
No other questions for the negotiations update? Moving into C, old business. I see no old business. So let's move into item 7, residents forum on agenda items only. Board policy number 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time limit when commenting on agenda items. Do take note that the 3-minute time limit has been deleted. We're at just respect the reasonable time limit. Anyone on agenda items only at this time? Up to the podium. Hello, Mr. Millerup.
Hello there, Rick Millerup, the Sandpaper. Just a question, but first I want to make a comment. Congratulations to Skylar. And it was funny. I read or at least skim through about a dozen newspapers a day because the news in one place is the news somewhere else. I mean, you know, you go all over the country and they're having the same arguments, you know. There might be a particular situation local, it's just local, but it's almost all the same. And yesterday, I can't even remember what paper it was, but I think there was 15 schools in Burlington County that decided to start this program where you could take classes in connection with other colleges and get points towards your college degree in high school. And I'm saying, damn, where were we? We've been doing this for like 5 years, you know? So they should just pay more attention to Pinelands. So congratulations, Skylar. That is so cool. I just have one question. I heard figures about the lunches, 31,000 I believe that's what was left over from last year that we owe.
So that we had to, our lunch balances right now
Uh-huh.
are like 30,000.
Okay.
But
'cause-
last year we had to pay a 33,000, I can get the exact number, to Little Egg for the.
Okay, and then I thought you said this year so far it's 28.
I think it's 20, like a
28
little
was
shy
good.
of 30,000.
Oh, okay. At any rate, without the exact figures, but I want to make sure that's all that we had to pay. Everything that we had to pay was because the lunches hadn't been paid for. It has nothing to do with free or reduced, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
So it's strictly a matter of people not paying.
That 30,000 includes all categories of unpaid, of what our debt is right now.
But we have to pay for free or reduced, doesn't the federal-
That's someone that didn't fill out the application until December,
Oh,
say,
okay.
for example.
Okay.
So from September to December, they weren't paying for their lunch, so they
Okay.
charged lunch. They did the application in December, were free, but they had a balance still.
Okay, now I understand.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. Riley Martin, 81 West Greenbush Road. I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to address you all today and reflect on our achievements and contributions of our school community like recently. I first want to extend a huge congratulations to all of the winter sports teams for their amazing seasons and to the drama department who just completed their run of Little Mermaid. However, amidst all of these celebrations, I really want to share my opinion on live streaming as a topic. While one of the main arguments for live streaming to return may be transparency, I believe it is also necessary to consider the unintended consequences. As we've all seen for the past few years, live streaming can often lead to a disengaged public, susceptible to the spread of hurtful and untrue rumors across social media pages. We must ask ourselves, is our community ready to return to live streaming? I've attended several of the past board meetings, and the public turnout and participation compared to prior years has been indescribable. One of the most effective avenues for community members to voice their concerns is by coming up to this podium to speak, and I believe the lack of live streaming has encouraged many to seize this opportunity. Despite the challenges posed by this very nuanced topic, we mustn't allow it to overshadow the remarkable achievements of our students. As we enter a new season filled with opportunities, it's vital for all of us to reevaluate our commitment to truth, integrity, and excellence. Let's take pride in celebrating the talents of our students and the incredible school district that we're all a part of. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor for agenda items only at this time? Static, perfect. Okay, let's move on into the rest of our meeting. And item number 8 under instructional. I ask for a motion to approve instructional items 8A through 8E as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions on items 8A, excuse me, through 8E? I see no questions from the board. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Betty,
yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. Moving on into item 9 under personnel. I ask for a motion to approve personnel items 9A through 9R as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
The motion is on the floor and there's a second. Thank you, Patty Martin. Any questions on items 9A through 9R? No questions? Very good. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
G, no.
hold on one second. Okay,
And then, spring coaches, I have to abstain from P1 and Q2. I know they're not numbered, but
So you're, just to be clear, you're voting no to honoraria drama assistants.
correct.
Okay. And then she abstained on coaches, spring coaches,
P1,
What's P1?
which,
well,
say it which one exactly, because
Okay.
it's too confusing.
Joseph D'Amelio.
Okay,
I think I know him.
Sure.
And then, Q, Kevin Schaefer.
okay,
I need to abstain, but everything else, yes.
okay.
so no for G and no or abstain
Mhm.
on spring coach Demelio and Schaefer.
Correct.
Yes on everything else.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Miss Crystal Martin.
I'd like to abstain on L fifth.
Okay, just one second.
Number.
Yeah.
L6,
Yeah, Trisha Horner. Okay. And I'll abstain on M as well,
okay,
and yes to the rest.
so Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, item 10, under harassment, intimidation and bullying. I ask for a motion to approve HIB item 10A as recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on the item? 10A? No questions. Roll call vote, Amanda?
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Moving into policies and procedures, number 11, I ask for a motion to approve policies and procedures, items 11A through 11D as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, ladies. Any questions on items 11A through 11D?
I don't know if this would be a motion or a discussion, but I think wording on policy 3211, the part of or legal guardians, those words should remain and not be omitted to just be parents.
Say that one again, 3-2.
1-1. And also, well, that's the other section. So
3-2-1-1.
policy 3211, it looked like it said legal guardians was crossed out and just parents were just listed. I feel like we should have that wording still in there for legal guardians. Unless it was revised from the last time I saw it. I think it's right in the beginning.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay,
We get these policy updates right from Strauss Esme.
okay.
So these are what come from the attorneys that work there, so. I mean, we can discuss it. Do you see any issue, Will, with it crossing out our legal guardian?
I'm trying to see exactly where that is.
3211 is the policy.
Mhm.
It's right in the beginning.
And then it's also the revision. I know it's the other section, so I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but the revision to R2260, same thing. It just says parents and then legal guardian is crossed off.
It's a code of ethics.
Yeah, it's the code of ethics that they said that was published by the National Education Association, just for the members of the public, just so you're aware. Board of Education employs entity known as Strauss Esme, as do most of the other boards of education throughout the state, who assist them in their generation of policy and their policy compliance. I'm not sure why they changed this. What I would suggest is that approve it, give us an opportunity to take a look into it, whether it was specifically changed by NEA for some reason.
Okay.
And that was the reason for the change. And if for some reason or another it makes sense to bring it back at the next meeting as an amendment.
And
Thanks,
I'll
Steph.
get back to you with that. So it's 3211, and then for revisions, which one was it?
R 2260.
2260 revisions. Okay, I'll look into this.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any other questions on 11A through 11D or comments? I see no additional comments or questions. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
motion carried.
Excellent. Moving into item 12, operations. I ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Items 12A through 12D.
Where are we at here?
Well,
Operation.
We're in operations.
Okay, sorry.
That's
Go
okay.
ahead.
No, maybe I was just a little faster. You ready, Skippy?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Second. Who, Dave. Okay.
Yes. Any questions on items 12A through 12D? Under operations. No questions? Roll call vote, please, Amanda?
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, the next section. Point
Yeah.
out that it's inverted on the agenda
Yeah.
and that there's a couple of extensions on this section.
Okay, so it looks like the vote is in M, but there's an N. Look at something.
I think M and N got inverted somehow.
Right. I would just say,
Okay,
It's
so
still through N. Or through M, I'm sorry.
say through N, and then I would just cover them all. Because
Well,
N. should
N would be
vote.
the vote.
Yeah,
M would be
right.
the final. So it still stays with M, but
Okay,
on our computer, it shows through M. How about on the paper? That the public received.
It's M and N are switched.
M and N were switched
Yeah.
on the paper too.
just say through N, and then.
Yeah.
I'll vote.
All right. Under item 13, the report of the Secretary Business Administrator, I ask for a motion to approve the Board Secretary Business Administrator Report, items 13A through 13N, as recommended by the superintendent. May I have a motion, please? Thank you, Mr. Dalio. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Miss Betty.
Ms. Johnson,
Are there any questions? Oh,
so you have,
No.
she's on the bills list. There's a payment for Melissa on the bills list. There's a payment for a legal bill, Gorman, that
Okay.
was the investigator, was an attorney.
Okay.
And then there's also a vote for an attorney for you,
For I.
yes.
Yeah. So I'll just abstain from A.
Well, we'll get there. I just wanted to
Okay.
remind you
Yeah.
beforehand. Okay.
I see.
any other questions?
I have a couple questions about bills list. if possible.
I could try.
Okay.
Note ahead of notice is preferred.
So I know we have Atlantic City Electric charges, that's obvious. Direct Energy Business LLC, electricity supply charges.
So there are, like our Atlantic City is not our supplier,
Okay.
so I don't really know how to explain that.
So it's just basically electricity. It's not anything.
Yeah,
a
it's just
separate
that, I mean,
contract
instead
or
of
anything.
Atlantic City Electric having $100 bill, it's 50 to Atlantic City Electric, and you can get a third-party provider.
So they vendor or, okay, I got that one. And then, student drug testing, is that for, I see we spent like 6,000 on that. Is that for sports or for discipline?
So we have two things. We have random drug testing,
Mhm.
and that's about 8,000 a year to pay that company to come in
Okay.
a few times a year.
Okay.
Then we also have, if someone is suspected to be under the influence,
Okay.
we send them out and then we have to pay for that.
Okay.
So it's a combination of both.
Okay. Cause there just seemed like a whole section, but I know that could probably be the whole.
Yep.
School year. And then, transportation was kind of a concern. I see that we have Durham, which we're obligated to. But also, is it Mosh?
Mosh, yeah,
Okay.
is the co-op.
And then, Holcomb, the Heart, I think it was. And it said something about.
That
that's like
is the
8 grand.
purchase of the bus, I believe.
Okay.
We purchased 2 small buses,
Mhm.
so I'm pretty sure that I can look it up.
Oh, actually, Holcomb, I think was the oh no, the athletics was something else. But we're talking about like 860,000 for transportation.
So for Durham, we pay for all the sending districts,
Mhm.
so it's easier for Durham to just bill us because we we're the, like how Little Egg is the consolidated agreement for food service, we do all the stuff for transportation. So we pay the entire bill for Durham,
Mhm.
and then we bill the sending districts. So
Okay.
it seems like ours are elevated, but
Yeah.
it's not true. We,
Okay.
every single time we get the bill, we then immediately bill the sending districts, and then they'll pay it, like they're on their March or April bills list.
Mhm.
They'll pay us for Marches or whatever we pay for it. So it's just, they pay us the next month.
Okay. And is Durham like the only provider that we're able to get, or I know
Yeah.
that they run
I
the
mean,
monopoly on it?
we often go out to bid, but just from their location, they're really,
just-
most of the times, they're the only ones that do
Yeah.
bid on our routes. Mosh is a company that if we need a one-off, they're not really our home to school routes, but
Mhm.
they're, if we have a McKinley Vento student or there's a special ed
Out of district
placement,
placement,
out of
right.
district placement, then they,
Substitute it.
they're like our,
Take it.
kind of like our emergency bus people that they can kind of always give us a route now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Is there anything that I'm abstaining on in this agenda?
No,
None?
I don't think so.
You, actually, yes, you on I,
And
Jeff
Jeff
needs
on
to
I,
abstain on I.
Just on I?
yes.
Yes. Good.
Any other questions?
Oh, I have one. For wood shop, I see that we're paying out like 24,000 for supplies, and I noticed like I haven't checked what last month was either, or January, but it seems like that wood shop bills are
Yeah.
adding up.
After funds? Yeah, so we had grant money that's specific to certain categories.
Mhm.
So we did really try to build that program this year. So
Okay.
we did put a lot of the money into his program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I know, excuse me, I asked this last time about, is there allotted funds for each category of classes and stuff? Cause it always seems like it's theater and wood shop and home ec, theater, wood shop, home ec.
You see that more because there are reoccurring costs, like for home ec, he needs to buy food a lot and supplies. And the same with wood shop, you're actually going through supplies. And then in regards to the theater,
Mhm.
they're making more money than they're spending.
Mhm.
So they put on productions, and yes, you have to put money into the sets and things and the costumes, but
Mhm.
they're making the money back.
Okay.
So yeah, you're gonna see them on more than others.
So that funds that they get for like the tickets and whatnot,
Yep.
the fundraising, it goes to the school, or do they have a separate fund?
It's
that-
not really fundraising. The ticket sales go to the school to offset the program.
Yeah.
Go for
Mhm.
that. Okay.
The fundraising, I
we're not involved in any fundraising.
Okay.
So like they sell stuff in the commons, that's all.
It's all
It's a
school-
the
separate
PTAP,
organization.
school
called
related.
PTAP, the Pinelands
Yeah,
Theater
and
Arts
that's-
Foundation. Patty
yeah.
Martin volunteers occasionally, just
Okay.
saying.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's just strictly the ticket sales.
Okay.
Nothing further. Roll call vote, Amanda.
Miss Betty,
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Miss Johnson,
Abstain A and I, yes to everything else.
Miss Patty Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Miss Crystal Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Dalio,
Abstaining from I, yes to everything else.
Mr. Bonnicky,
Abstain from 13I and yes to everything else.
abstentions have been noted. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 14, informational items. As they are presented as informational items, are there any discussion on monthly attendance, monthly discipline reports, or security drill, monthly discipline reports? I think Dr. McCooley handled in her report or presentation and allowed our questions. Anything on attendance or the security drill?
I did have a question I wanted to just, I brought it, was looking at it. I reviewed the monthly discipline reports. I have a couple questions. If you want to open up the high school one, the attachment.
On that sideways. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's just some things on here that I just want a little further clarification on it. So for the high school, what is failure to follow proper procedure? What does that mean? What does it cover?
Mr. Henderson, would you mind coming to the microphone?
Nice and cozy in the back. No one's going to see me.
Evening. So failure, that could be an example of failure to follow proper procedure. Could be where a student doesn't do something they're expected to do in class. So a teacher might write them up so that they're not following the procedures in class.
Okay, so you might as well stay up there anyway, since it's my insightful remarks. Does that fall under him?
So it depends, because it's not always necessarily a HIB, but it could be something that does rise to the level of an HIB.
The reason why I asked that is too, because I see under insightful remarks, there's only two. But then again, you're looking at harassment and bullying, and there's nothing there. Those words could need HIB depending on how it's used. Okay, and the words that would be considered HIB, is it being recorded under like insightful remarks? Is it being used again? Like, are you getting multiple numbers?
Twice, no. So it would only be once. So if it was something that rose to the level of an HIB, it would be listed in there as an HIB.
Okay.
I would have to look at the insightful remarks write-ups that you have in there to get a better idea of what the details were. I'm not sure.
Okay, and the last one too is for the middle school. Positive behavior. Are these students, do they get anything for that? I mean, is there like free lunch?
So
Now
I can tell you what we do at the high school, and I think it's probably similar in the junior high. When we get the write-up, we'll call the student down, praise them for the positive write-up. Then we call home, let the parents know that their child got written up for a positive thing. Usually I mess with my kids and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry your child got written up today. And then draw that little American Idol drama and then tell them the good news. So.
The junior high, I think, does get something. Huey and Henry have said they get like hot chocolate or chocolate bars or something
like that.
There is
They're
acknowledgement.
being acknowledged.
Yeah,
Okay.
they are acknowledged.
I thank you, Troy.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
wait,
that's
I
all.
have a question. So out of these numbers, just say like 43 for cell phone violation. Do we see that there's a lot of repeat offenders in that 43, or is it 43 individual like students, or is there a percentage that might be the same?
We do have
offender?
some repeat offenders when it comes to cell phone violations in particular. And I think our progressive discipline that we put in place has really cut that down. But we do have, like for our first offense, it's just a verbal warning. If it's a second offense, we take the phone and they have to have an after school detention. So I think some of the interventions that we put in place has minimized the number, but unfortunately, the phones are addicting for some of these guys. And so we do have some repeat offenders.
And like the more violent ones, are they more, again, the same offender, or like there's a lot on the list, like leaving the property without permission, possession of illegal dangerous item, 7, willful defiance of authority, that's 6. So like I'm trying to get at, like, out of those 6 or those 7, like, could it be only 2 students that are always repeating this behavior, or is it actually 6 individuals?
So it varies.
Okay.
It varies. Yeah.
And what in the typical day is like the progression of discipline? For anything random, like first offense, second offense?
So
third
it all
offense?
depends. If you look at our student handbook,
Mhm.
it actually outlines right in there,
Okay.
first offense, second offense, third offense.
Okay.
So we go over with the students in the beginning of the year, middle of the year, periodically about the student handbook, about the code of conduct that's in there. So it's hard to say, like, on any given day, what kind of offenses come through. This year, it's seeing as Thursdays are hot days as far as behavior issues are concerned. For some reason, it's weird this year, but overall, it's kind of hard to say.
And the administration is pretty consistent with following that handbook and that.
150%. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone?
Thanks, Troy. Any
And
more?
Is there a reason why like positive behaviors in there and good behavior, because they're added to the bottom totals? And I feel it's kind of like it should be like.
It's really just for the board to
negative.
see. When you go into Encourse, into our system,
Mhm.
you can disaggregate that. So you can
Okay.
click on it and it goes away. Like, so when I gave my totals, I took the positive out.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really just for the board to see the positive
The
write-ups,
totals.
but when we report out discipline, we take that out.
Okay.
Any other questions on the informational items? Okay, moving into item 15, Residents Forum on General Topics. Board policy number 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time limit when commenting on any topic. Anyone? Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are you? So before I go on to what I would like to speak, can I wait for the board to speak first before I make accusations out before? To see if they're
Now,
gonna come
you
clear?
have, now, we'll follow the agenda. You're open to speak on general topics right now. And when the board form concludes,
Oh, this
there'll be
is-
an adjournment.
So I have to speak even though somebody might come clear
I'm sorry, come clear?
with what happened at the last board meeting. I was wondering if that person is going to apologize to the public with false accusations.
Yeah, you're welcome to address the board right now.
Okay. So first, I would like to thank the chaperones for the senior class trip of 2024, everything they did to keep our kids safe. There wasn't much on the weekly updates about thanking or, talking about the senior trip or the fashion show that's happened. I don't know why they're being ignored and not recognized. Also, I would like to thank Rich from the travel agency for taking good care of our kids, working hard to get our kids to this big hot mess. But they all had a wonderful, amazing senior trip, even though the first day was really rough and the flight was supposed to take off at 6 a.m. and they wound up staying at the airport until it was supposed to originally 9 something at night that the plane had to be postponed till. But Rich worked with JetBlue on getting an earlier flight at 4, I think it was like around 4 o'clock. And he worked hard at, giving vouchers out to our children and stuff to get them through the day without having to use their own money for food and stuff like that because they sat there the entire day. I also want to say that D'Amelio and Schaefer, for the baseball, they're going to be the new spring coaches. I think they're going to be a big asset to the baseball team. They were a good asset for my child and many other baseball players that are on the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 baseball team now. He was a coach. Schaefer was a coach, and D'Amelio was a coach for my son's traveling team. The award case, why is it still sitting empty and nothing's been done? It looks like nothing but clear case. It's been a while, nothing's been worked on. I'm trying to stay calm. I'm really shaky because I'm really upset over the Zimmerman situation. What happened at that last board meeting, having those children come into this room, and the parents had no idea that they were here and what they were here for. So that spiel that went on here at the last board meeting was all the kids lined up in the back in the hallway with their parents. They were told to stand against the back wall. And when they stood against the back wall, they were then told to come into the room, and the parents are all dumbfounded because they had no idea why they were here. I spoke to many parents. It's been on social media. And every parent was very upset at that meeting. Zimmerman called all these children in, the parents in, and then had somebody else, his son, read the paperwork that he wrote up, the letter or whatever. And I think Mrs. Zimmerman that's sitting here on the board should be apologizing for what her husband did. I thought it was disgusting that those children wasted a whole hour of their wrestling time to be in practice, thinking they're coming into this room because they were told, you wrestling? Is wrestling a lot of fun? Well, maybe you should come on in the room here now and show how much you liked wrestling.
I will take care of it.
Now, when Mr. Zimmerman came here at the end of the meeting, I will make it said right now, I asked him, why did he do that? And he said, I apologize. I'm sorry that I did that and I shouldn't have. That's what he told me. And I wish I recorded him because that's were his exact words.
You'll have 1 more minute. You're done. Oh, you're done. Thank you, Kelly. Anyone else from the floor? On general topics. Anything you want? 1 second. Thrice. Residents forum is closed. We'll move on to board forum. Yeah.
Could I address the trophy case real quick? I'm gonna do that.
Oh, actually, sure.
So the shelves for the trophy case and the parts had just come in, so that's gonna be put together. It was just ordered and took a while to come in.
Okay, now.
Thank you. Yep. Now you can go.
I don't have much to say. So I want to apologize for my lates recently. I've been running around.
I don't believe anyone questioned you on your tardiness. We appreciate your general concern for us and the audience.
I feel bad for being late. I want to be on time next time. Other than that, I just have a question actually, because we've been discussing recently in ecology and environmental classes. Do we genuinely recycle? Because there has been talk about that because of like, we have a recycling bin, but then is it getting recycled? Like, do we know that as a district?
Administrators?
I believe it's only Mr. Rocheski, would you mind answering if we recycle or not?
Or we can get an answer back to her too.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Classes. Yeah.
We can get an answer back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, he just started recently, so we'll.
We don't want to put him on the
Yeah.
spot like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Good question.
It is a great question because if we have the ability to recycle, I think it might be a little inconsistent, and I'm sorry if that sounded a little bit strong, but if we could be more consistent in recycling, I think that would make everything just a little bit more better. I said more better, so I'm going to work on my sentence structure also. I'm going to cross the room. Lisa Betty, you cannot hide. You're second.
All right. I wanted to say, Riley, I wanted to thank you for what you said about the meetings. You got a good point. The turnout, the live interaction is really important. I agree with you. I just think that unfortunately, the way the world is going, everything's gonna be a thing in our lifetimes. But I appreciate what you said. I did want to mention I was lucky enough to attend the fashion show. The kids did an amazing job. The lucky young gentleman who got to escort, there were less men than women. So they were sharp, they were enjoying themselves, and the ladies were beautiful. It's a wonderful event if you can attend next year. The sports teams are spring. I wish luck to the spring teams and congratulations to the winter teams and the bog cleanup. I think that's amazing. I think they're doing a wonderful job. I want to see what happens there. A lot of changes going on. So
Fingers crossed we get the grant that Dr. Clark wrote.
Yeah.
Dr. Clark works magic.
Yeah, she does.
Fingers crossed.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Patty Martin?
Yes, happy to hear that the senior trip, that everybody had a great time. And I'd like to, with Kelly, what you were saying, the travel agent, the person, I mean, that's just phenomenal that they went above and beyond. So thank you for mentioning him, because we do owe him a debt of gratitude. Good luck to the middle school and high school sports opening up. Again, I'd like to thank the businesses and individuals donating the scholarships to our seniors. I think that is just fantastic. Congratulations again to Skylar. That is amazing. And to see that you've inspired your younger sister to do the same and just work towards, I just think it's phenomenal. And right along with the AP classes that are offered, I just think we're wonderful. And those 15 schools should take a look at what Pinelands is doing. I'd like to bring up again, I know I bring this up often, but the administration, the staff, Dr. McCooley, keeping the mental health of all of our students in the forefront. I just thank you. Thank you for working tirelessly for them. And also the Little Mermaid and PTAP. First off, the theater department. Again, I've said it before, there are people when you're selling pretzels or whatever you're selling, they start talking to you. There's people that come that have nothing to do with Pinelands. They come to watch the Pinelands show. So just a great job all around. But this Board of Education meeting, I would like to, not as a PTAP member, just somebody on the outside looking in. These parents that, I mean, just out of the blue, we have no gummy candies left or no soda. I mean, they answer the call right off the bat and they're just there helping out. And everything that they donate, what's sold, goes towards scholarships for our students. And I can't thank the parents enough. That's it.
Great. Thanks, Patty. David Hewitt?
I concur with Mrs. Martin. The theater department did a wonderful job in the production of The Little Mermaid, and we are still singing songs from it in our house. It's been 0 days since we've sang a song from The Little Mermaid. But congratulations to them. And it's just great to see, just in general, you know, there are so many students and so many faculty members and staff members involved in a production like that. And it's really impressive and encouraging when you take a step back and look at all of the teacher-student contact that's made throughout the school year, whether it's in the classroom, whether it is on an extracurricular activity, a sports team, and a drama practice. And that's just really important. And I hope that as a Board of Education, as a district, we'll continue to commit to those opportunities for our kids to be mentored by adults. Congratulations, Skylar Ballin, for working really hard, and thank you for your example. I think it's really awesome to hear about the Twilight program. It's really great to see that our district is helping students succeed that might not succeed in a traditional classroom setting. I think that's a really positive thing. And it's great to see our school really harnessing the environmental program in the resources that are around us, out in the bogs. And I see all of the posts all of the time about what's going on in those classes, and I want to sign up and take one. But it's just really great to see that. And thank you to the public again for being here tonight and for asking questions and for giving us input. We really appreciate that.
Betty Ann McVeigh. Thank you, David.
I would like to reiterate what everyone else has said. Good luck to the spring sports. The play again was marvelous. After last month's meeting and have an opportunity to meet our award-winning stage crew, I made it a point of the many times I went to see the production to watch the stage crew. Just watch them in operation, all dressed in black. It's almost like a ballet for them. Moving scenery in and moving scenery out, and just a shout out to them. So many of them work behind the scenes and aren't, don't have the spotlight on them, but really amazing stuff to watch. And again, to everyone else that participates in that, the volunteers, everyone, what a neat thing for our community to have a great stage production in their own backyard. I'd also like to give a shout out to Dr. McCooley and Amanda Miller, who just a little over 2 weeks ago found out they had to reduce the budget by $2 million. I think after they picked their jaws up off the floor, they got right to work. And I feel confident that even though it's a shame that we have to do this, our budget will meet our educational goals and we'll put the kids first. So I thank them for all that hard work. And with that, I'm done.
Thank you, Betty Ann. Crystal Martin.
Excuse me. Yes, I'd also like to reiterate how amazing the Little Mermaid was, and how lucky we are to have such a talented theater department with volunteers who go above and beyond, as other Mrs. Martin said, had mentioned. It was a really lovely, great time to go and be able to see that here. Congratulations to Skylar. That is such an amazing achievement. I don't know how you did it, but congratulations. It's unbelievable almost. And then your sister too. Keep going. Very excited to have the live streaming back. But that doesn't mean that, your concerns, Riley, was it? Go unheard. I think, that's taken into consideration. And I think probably as a student who went through that virtual learning during COVID, you really understand the importance and the necessity of showing up in person and how difficult it has been doing things virtually. So, those concerns are heard as well. And thank you for speaking tonight and letting us know that. That's it.
Great. Thanks, Crystal. Stephanie Johnson.
Again, to reiterate, everybody, Skylar, congratulations, and Ariana, congratulations to her too. And Joanna, thank you for always doing such a great job with updating us on that. I thought it was great to see when it was course enrollment time, and you guys did all those little videos, and I really enjoyed seeing all the science classes that you have, and the culinary and the wood shop. That was really, I was watching it with my daughter, who should be coming here next year. So I was really excited about that and to show her that. The play was just fantastic. Like Dave, I'm singing positivity all the time in my head. And then congratulations to the Teachers of the Year, junior high school, Mrs. Amanda Trania, if I'm saying that right, and the Educational Service Professional of the Year, junior high, Carol Margeros. I tried to look to see if there was a high school Teacher of the Year. I didn't know who that was.
We're gonna recognize them next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yep, in
Okay.
April.
So
I'm sorry.
early
Yeah, April.
congratulations, but I was trying to find anything on that. But yeah, that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie. Shannon Zimmerman.
All right, thank you. I think everyone covered everything fantastic. Thank you, fellow board members. The one thing I would love, and Johanna, you do an awesome job with the high school.
can we bring back a junior high representative like
Yeah.
we used to do over across the street?
Sure.
So I don't know who would be, I know.
I'll
Eric's
talk
not
to
here
Eric,
tonight.
because yeah, he'll
Yeah,
run the student government there too, so I will speak to him
Yeah,
and Miss Thurber. Yeah, I don't see why not. Cool, thanks.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you.
That's it, Steve.
Wonderful, Shannon. Mr. Dalio?
Thank you. So I really have nothing to add that my fellow board members have already eloquently addressed. What and I'd like to thank is the committees I've sat on, the Budget and Finance Committee, and also Negotiation Committee. I appreciate our time that's spent. We are volunteers. We do this for free. So it's nine meetings counting so far with negotiations. So it does take a toll, but I appreciate the work. Mrs. Miller, thank you very much for your budget this year. I appreciate your time. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, August. Folks, thank you all for your attendance and coming out. Boardsmen and boardswomen, wonderful words. And at this time, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
I'm not going to say any abstentions or anyone opposed. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great night.